S11 Week 3. Today we'll be Infinity Gaming will be playing against Scythe eSports in a best of 5, possibly best of 7 if it goes to the um, Ace game, Clan War. My name is Ward, and I'm here with my co-caster, Arthisios.
Hey, how's it going?
Pretty all right. You ready to watch some StarCraft, to cast some StarCraft today?
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, it's looking like there are going to be some pretty good games. For the first match, we're going to have Vindicta against End of Days. So that's going to be pretty nifty.
Yep, both very good Terran players in their own right. So gonna start off the day with some great TVT action. A pretty memey matchup if you ask me, but I'm looking forward to it. Maybe I'll learn something.
Absolutely. Following those matches will be Route against Daydreamer. And if Bobby Awesome's watching, we got your boy Kane here going up against Goucher later. So
Yeah, this is actually something I just realized. Today is actually a pretty memey day. I hate the fact that I just said memey, but we actually have all mirror matchups today.
Oh,
Vindicta versus End of Days is TVT.
uh,
Route versus Daydreamer is PvP. And Kane versus Goucher is ZVZ. And then, of course, lastly, if it does get to this, it'll be Roro versus Groovy Man, which is also a TVT.
yeah, very surprising that it happened to fall like that, but we'll see how this goes.
What are
If
the
you like
odds?
yourself some mirror matches, here we go. We got some good ones for you.
It'll be a damn good day for you.
Right. This is also being casted on a different channel at Gemini SC2. So, feel free to bounce between them, but all games will be casted on both streams.
Yep. Of course, it'll be casted by Gemini. He's a very knowledgeable Protoss player. Um, yeah, great player too. So a little bit unfortunate. I loved watching Gemini play. It's just a little unfortunate that we don't have Gemini playing today. But of course, the players that are playing today are very good in their own right.
Yeah, absolutely. I believe Gemini recently made an appearance on the Pylon show, so that was pretty good for him.
Yeah.
Pylon show, if for those of you who do not know, is a talk show hosted by In Control and Arthisios.
It's actually the best thing that's happened to StarCraft in possibly like 4 years. So I really go check it out. I love the show. It's awesome.
Yeah, and I mean, if you do want to check it out, it will be going on, I believe, just after we finish up here.
Yep.
So if you're still in that StarCraft mode, feel free to go check that out.
Yep. It's hilarious. Makes for amazing background noise actually. So yeah.
Absolutely.
I love to listen to it while ladder. Excuse me.
Yeah. So it's looking like we're getting our games underway almost. There's a slight error, I guess. One of their players is eating currently. Got to prep for the big game tonight, you know?
Yeah, gotta make sure you're well nourished.
Absolutely. You don't want to get any cramps or anything while playing. That'd be pretty rough. Oh, man. I can't imagine friggin' cramp while you're playing StarCraft.
So
No
that's
way,
why we
no.
drink water. Stay hydrated, kids.
Hydrate to feel great, for sure. So yeah, we're right now just kind of getting the order of things.
Yep, trying to just kill some time, trying to get into the first match. So this
Yeah,
is what this will be the second. This last week the Marauder patch had just gone through, hadn't it?
Yes. So yeah, that was the second day, I believe, of the new patch.
Cool. So this week, things are less fresh. So maybe we'll see a little bit more of an established meta surrounding it.
Absolutely.
Not as fresh of a change.
Yeah, a little bit more established strategies going forward. I don't think too much has changed, really. I mean, other than Raven's not really being played as much, you're not seeing the mass Raven anymore. But it's TBT, so
Oh
you
god,
might even still see that.
I don't want to talk about Mass Ravens in TVT. I haven't played it since the patch, but before that it was a nightmare. I can't imagine it's changed that much.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And we are going to get a chance to see that, though, with 2 TBTs in a row. So, buckle up, boys. We got ourselves some Terran love going on.
Yeah, so yeah, it does actually appear that Roro versus Groovy Man, what is actually going to be bumped to the second match instead of the fourth. So the order will be Vindicta End of Days, then Roro Groovy Man. So
Okay, yeah.
less all messed up than it was before.
Yeah, there's definitely been quite a bit of switching around today. I mean, just for scheduling wise, everybody has their own lives and needs to do it themselves.
It's no big deal.
So we will have these games for you shortly. End of Days is hanging out. He's about ready. He just needs a quick minute. So we're going to be getting that all set up. Again, just a few moments. So not to worry. Once again, if you're just joining us, I'm Arthisios, and this is Ward. We will be your casters today. And, well, I mean, we're going to be your casters, let's be real, for pretty much all of the events in this league, yeah.
Yep.
So,
They're stuck with us all season, Ryan.
yeah, right.
That is if they watch here. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, that's true. So.
So yeah, End of Days. I think his minute has expired, but
60 seconds are done, boys. Ooh, as I say that, he just said okay. He's done. He's ready for hope.
just like shout out to Infinity Gaming player Critter in the chat, who says Ward Craigasm. Thank you, Critter. I appreciate it. whatever you mean by that.
I mean, Craigasm's reward. I don't know if those two go together in a sentence.
Yeah, I don't think they work. I don't think
really
that's allowed.
Yeah.
Alright. Well,
Yeah,
it does look like the first game of the day is going to be on Blackpink. So it is. Oh, I didn't actually mention this. This clan war will take place on the previous map pool. It will not be happening on the new season's maps. So you'll see some of your old favorites on here. So actually balanced maps. No.
Oh, big words.
Listen, dude, this map pool is absolutely incredible for Terran. It's not my fault. Like, I don't think I'm making any bold statements by saying that most of the maps this season are not balanced. So.
Yeah. So yes, as Ward had said, these are all going to be on the maps of the previous pool. So that said, first map will be Blackpink, followed by Neon Violet Square, then by Eastwatch, and if we can get to it, Backwater.
Backwater for a TVT? Oh boy. Oh wait, never mind. Actually, that got changed to last. No, that got bumped up from 4th to 2nd. Never mind.
Yeah, that will be ZVZ on Backwater.
The order.
Oh wow, yeah. You said that's second now? Okay. Oh yeah. So we have Vindicta, End of Days, then Roro, Groovy Man, Route, Daydreamer, then Kane, Goucher. If it goes that far, but again, hopefully we get just plenty of good games here from both teams.
Hopefully it goes that far. I'd love to see some good StarCraft on the day.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a great. What day is it? Wednesday. Got some good.
Wednesday nights.
Yeah, it's a Wednesday night for sure. Don't have too many events going on.
Wednesdays are for cold ones with, I don't know, pulling the boys. I was trying to make it work. It didn't work. I tried.
All right, so looks like next week it'll be me casting with a mystery person. So definitely apply, because Ward will no longer be hired here.
Yeah, caster position is officially opening.
Absolutely. But jokes aside, we are going to be getting into this match momentarily. The party's finally all set up. We are looking to get moving, but I don't know. Did something?
I don't know what happened. End of days declined the ready process.
Oh,
And Vindicta. Oh,
okay. Yeah, so I guess they had a mix up in the maps. So
yep.
we're going to be getting that reset for you guys. And hopefully some StarCraft will be happening. It's a little bit past starting time, but I think it'll be okay.
So since this map, there's two possibilities for which map this can be played on, Neon Violet and Blackpink. So since we're moving it to the first match, does that mean that it'll happen on Neon Violet, or will it still happen on the second map, Blackpink?
Yeah, I believe that all maps are going to stay the same with the players. So, oh no, sorry. It should be. Yeah, it should stay Blackpink, right?
That's what I think makes the most sense, because that's the players that just the orders changing would make the most sense. But Black, what?
With all the switching around,
Yeah, that's not the right map.
Why are you hosting Black? That's amusing.
My lord.
So
we are having some technical difficulties here. Over.
I'd say it's an admin side, but
yeah, admin side.
Blame the admins. Always their fault. All the time, 100%. So, anyways, hope everybody is doing well today. Again, welcome to the Alpha Team League Season 11, Week 2.
This is Week 3.
Week 3? Oh, no. Well, okay, yeah. I guess it's our second week, but it is the third week officially. Infinity Gaming versus Scythe eSports.
So we are in the lobbies now. Should be loading into the game fairly soon. At least I hope so.
Well, we have a full party here today. Holy cow!
Yeah.
All players indicating that they are ready. So we'll be getting into game pretty shortly. And welcome back. End of Days versus Vindicta is loading up right now.
Wow, I mean, this should be a wash. End of Days isn't even ranked. Wow.
Yeah, I gotta get some more passion, I guess, going forward. But that all stated, getting into this, in the bottom left corner, it's the blue Terran, representing Infinity Gaming. It's Vindicta.
And spawning in the top right, representing Scythe eSports, in the red trunks, it is End of Days. So far, everything's pretty standard. Both players are going to be going gas first, which, for the most part, if you're not going gas first at TVT, you're probably out of your mind. It's incredibly risky. Reapers are really, really good. We do have End of Days electing to go for the wall up here, just to make it so Reapers can't jump up and they're less of a nuisance. So, definitely a solid strategy. We do also see SCV Scout from Vindicta, so he's probably going Reaper Expand, whereas End of Days is going double gas. Yes, he does throw down that second gas. So Vindicta will see this fairly early.
Yeah, and I mean, definitely, information's pretty good, I'd say, in StarCraft going forward, but the SV is going to be getting in here. An End of Days might just be the end of his day. He's fully scouted.
Yeah, I'm sorry, that was bad. That was bad. The reason when you go double gas that you don't really SCV scout is because no matter what you scout, you can't really change it anyways. So, pretty normal to see a double gas player not really scout. Of course, we do have the factory follow up here, so gonna probably be looking to get some cyclones out fairly quickly. This is typically known as the defensive build. Usually, when TVT was more rock paper scissory than it is now, it's still true, Usually Reaper expand beats double gas beats.
Yeah, absolutely. So as we are continuing forward, we definitely have Vindicta being a little bit behind on the factory, but that's just kind of how this build goes.
Sorry about
We
that. I had
do
some.
have Hellion coming out for End of Days. So
Sorry about that. I had some interruptions. A really good move by Vindicta here does hide the SCV, so without even getting the Reaper into the base, he will confirm what he saw, see what's going on. And based off the positioning of this barracks and starport, he should know that there's going to be a tech lab coming down here fairly soon.
absolutely. The Reaper did definitely chew off that SCV. We do have the Double Reaper and Hellion going across the map. They will be running into this Double Reaper for Vindicta.
Yeah, this is
So-
really, really risky for Vindicta because this is exactly what happens. He has he has the same amount of Reapers, and there's a Hellion on the side of End of Days. So, fortunately for him, he will get the grenades off and be able to back up. But definitely a risky maneuver. Could have got those caught out and been in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, but Vindicta's Hellion is back here now, so we will have the Double Reaper Hellion against Double Reaper Hellion. Ooh, just a single Reaper Hellion now.
Yeah, and actually, End of Days did start a tech lab while the SCV was still there, and then immediately canceled it. So a bit of mind games coming on there. Even fooled me. So it does look like he'll be going for a Reaper Cyclone drop here, and does throw down the command center finally. But on the front door of End of Days is Vindicta, and he's gonna clean up the force of End of Days pretty nicely.
Absolutely. While we have that going, we do have the medevac with a Cyclone going along the bottom right side of the map. Going to be dropping on
Only
Vindicta.
a single Cyclone, which is a little odd.
Yeah, but I think it's probably just enough. I mean, it's early enough in the game. Vindicta doesn't have that much, right? So
Yeah, Vindicta got a little bit greedy. He chose to go straight for the tech lab on his factory instead of building a Cyclone. So he only has 3 Marines out on the map to defend this. By the time this does get here, I believe the Raven will be about done, so he should be able to slow this down for a little bit, but definitely taking a little bit of a greedy route.
yeah, we do have one worker killed in that entire debacle. Vindicta actually has the upper hand in workers killed. It's 2-1 here, so Raven does come out, force that medevac away with the Cyclone in it. The Reaper did have to eventually come home, so
Yeah,
there's
and
no
from
aggression.
this point, there really is no opportunity for End of Days to get in this base and deal damage. Vindicta's smartly sitting about at his ramp, so no matter where End of Days drops, he can get there fairly quickly, pull the SCVs to protect them, and just there's not really much of an opportunity here.
Yeah. We just have, right now, both players macroing up, trying to get ahead of the other. But
Yeah.
Ward, it's starting to look like there's a bit of mech play coming from End of Days here. How do you think this one's going to pan out?
I think it's a smart move from End of Days. He is behind in this game, and so typically when you're playing Bio, if you play Bio versus Bio, you're just gonna fall more and more behind. You're not gonna have as many units. You're gonna have a worse, especially if you already have a worse economy. So a smart move. Mech is very cost efficient and a good way to come back in a game like this. And we also do have a very fast third command center from End of Days, whereas Vindicta hasn't started his yet. So he's gonna have to do something yet. He did elect to go for 2 extra barracks before command center, fairly uncommon. So something does have to get done here for Vindicta.
Ooh, I like the rapid fire launchers upgrade coming out for End of Days. This upgrade increases the attack speed of the first 12 shots of your Cyclone lock on. So that anti-air will be a little bit more devastating coming from End of Days here. Definitely going to be shooting down any drops. But with that said, we do have Vindicta moving out across the map with his Reen tank with a Raven behind it.
So right now there is one thing going for Vindicta very strongly, and that's his Raven that he has. Stimmed Marines, although Stim actually won't be finished by the time this attack hits, but Marines are very, very good against Cyclones once they get Stim. And being able to disable those tanks would make this into a really, really good fight for Vindicta, but unfortunately, he just really doesn't quite have Stim, doesn't have quite any of those crucial upgrades that he needs to be able to pounce on this opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a handful of seconds away, but a little bit too far to initiate an attack just yet.
Yeah, even then, though, the Marine count was a little bit low, so not too convincing. I do like this play, though. Just trying to really contain End of Days. Doesn't want to let him get a third base, and if you don't let that mech player get that third base out fast, then the whole going 3cc as fast as he did becomes a little bit pointless. It's only really there for macro SCVs, and since Vindicta went Reaper Expand and End of Days went for a one base play, it's pretty even at the. So that third command center really isn't being held.
Yeah, absolutely. And while we do have this standoff, as I say that, there's a little bit of an engage. These Cyclones run over these tanks, moving on forward. And in the meanwhile, we do have a double Hellion drop going on in the main for Vindicta, against Vindicta.
Double anti-armor missile does go off in the natural, but unfortunately, just again, not enough there to capitalize on it. As we do get into this, though, Vindicta's in the main base of End of Days, and there's not really much here for End of Days. Only 2 siege tanks that are going to get hopped right on top of will be targeted down, and now the SCVs are up for grabs. Vindicta's in a decent defensive position here. I actually don't know where most of his army is. It was in the main base trying to deal with his Hellions. So he is in a little bit of trouble. He did lose a siege tank to those Cyclones, but the high ground advantage does look like it's going to be a little much.
Absolutely, we do have the Marines cleaning up the rest of those tanks. Vindicta looking pretty good. I mean, he has a sizable army. He dealt some damage at home. He defended the damage coming at his main. So, I mean, Ward, what do you think? Maybe Vindicta has the lead in this one, right?
Yeah, Vindicta has an obvious army lead. His economy is actually better than End of Days. He already has SCVs mining from his third. And he killed a lot of SCVs in the main base, dropping to a 10, actually having a 10 worker advantage. The problem for End of Days just became he had too many Cyclones. And while Cyclone Mech is very, very dominant in the early stages of the game, as soon as the bio player hits stim, it's very, very difficult to stop.
Yeah. Ooh, we do have the triple medevac drop here. One tank, good handful of bio. These factories are dust. Ooh, but a tank does get out.
This is absolutely amazing positioning from Vindicta. He is able to shell the third base SCV line while also having a pop shot at these factories with his bio. Raven coming in great usage here, going to be able to disable that tank. And now he's dropped on top of it. It looks like he's actually going to be able to clean up this mech force from End of Days.
Ooh, almost. 2 tanks do survive. And that was the last Marine gone for Vindicta from that drop. We do still have the Raven up and going. Pretty healthy, actually, so.
Yeah, really, this Raven has really been an absolute godsend for Vindicta, but with the anti-armor missiles, the disables, I actually can't remember what the spell is called. Interference Matrix. It's just been really, really nice for him. He's been able to get some absolutely amazing engages off the back of it.
Yeah, speaking of actually, coming up in just the next few seconds, Vindicta's 2-2 for his bios, just about to finish, so.
Yeah, he is.
We will have a little bit more of an advantage here.
He is actually going to hit slightly before it, and unfortunately his bio does kind of dance around a little bit, so maybe he doesn't get the best engage he could have gotten. But that anti-armor missile on those SCVs is really, really nice. And yeah, it denies the third base. Just from here, it looks like it's going to be a downhill spiral for End of Days.
Yeah, but as some of you should know, it is TVT, and it can be extremely fickle, and a Days very much can come back with just one really good engage, so.
Yeah, absolutely. Mech is obviously a very cost-efficient unit comp. The main problem I see for End of Days at this point is Mech really lacks a kind of power to break a contain. So if you can contain a Mech player, although Vindicta doesn't look like he plans on waiting around, they can really struggle. Does just stim on top of the siege tanks, is going to kill absolutely everything. And at this point, End of Days will tap out.
Well, okay, so that was a pretty good game.
Yeah, I mean, really well executed by both players. I really liked the way that, End of Days tried to get back into the game, going mech, playing very defensive. Cyclone Mech is obviously very strong, so he went for that to try and kind of swing back into his favor. But Vindicta was able to just hold out.
Yeah, and especially with the stream at the end of just 2-2 bio units against, what was that, 0-0 mech? Oh no, 1-1, I believe. that was just a little much for End of Days, along with losing his third position.
Yeah,
So,
and I mean, it doesn't really come into discussion that often, but the Marauder buff is pretty good against mech too, because you are taking down those siege tanks just a little bit just a decent bit faster now that the Marauders are dealing their full damage again. So definitely that helps out in bio versus mech situations as well.
oh yeah, it's an absolutely good point. We haven't seen a ton of like high level TVT with the new Marauder buff. So, I mean, as you're saying, Marauders good against mech, so definitely going to be interesting for the bio versus mech matchup.
Sure.
So, we will be having the next game coming up here in just a few short moments. It will be Roro against Groovy Man.
Yeah, this matchup is definitely going to be interesting. Another TVT, so it'll be interesting to see how both players elect to play this matchup. I mean,
So,
yeah, that's all I
TVT for
can say.
Days Boys. We're actually on time, well, on point with everything, I should say. Party is hopping in the lobby just a few short moments. Looks like we're, oop, there it is. And we'll be getting underway again, just a few short moments. So Ward, I mean, Neon Violet Square though. TVT, how do you feel about that one?
I feel this is a very, very good mech map that we are looking at. I mean, the pocket third base, it ends up being more of a pocket fourth than pocket third, but having an easy access to just those eighth and, or depending on which base you take it as, either your fourth and fifth, or excuse me, either your fifth and sixth or seventh and eighth gases, just really puts that kickstart in the mech. As obviously you don't really need the mineral patches that are there. It's really the
Mhm.
gas that's more important. So I do feel this can be a very, very strong mech map. If you are being forced to play defensive, say you go three base, your opponent goes two, you just have that base there. You can take it, and even though it's not the best base, your base is actually doing something instead of just sitting in your main. So I do feel this map is a very good defensive posture map, and oftentimes that means that we will be seeing mech. Um, the neon violet squares themselves also add to mech being good, although they are not great for tanks to fit through. They do
Yeah.
kind of cause your bio to path weirdly, and it's hard to engage through. So I do definitely feel that it's a strong for Terran or for
All right.
mech.
Yeah. Well, that's, I mean, absolutely great insight. Getting this game underway, though, in the top left corner, it's the Blue Terran representing Infinity Gaming. It's Roro.
In the bottom right, representing Scythe eSports, it is the orange Terran player, Groovy Man.
Pretty groovy color. I know. I need to not do this, but
I didn't know you were a
anyways.
dad, Ryan.
Just found out. Just the second.
Oh, Lord.
actually. Like just right now, with that joke.
Ryan's phone buzzes, and apparently his girlfriend has given birth to
Whoops.
a.
To a beautiful little Ultralisk trophy, I guess. I like that.
Okay. We're not gonna go down
Nope.
that. That's
Nope,
an.
okay. Well,
All right, so this game we do again have gas burst coming out from both players, but in this case we do actually have Groovy Man going for 2 Rax Reaper. I do feel this is definitely an interesting choice for that this map. It's very large, especially considering it's in base. It's very, very large, so it's going to take a long time for those Reapers to get across the map. And honestly, there's not really a point for Reapers to jump up. So all Roro really has to worry about is just defending this ramp. He can put a bunker in between the little opening next to the rocks and the ramp, and honestly believe he can just defend it from that point. And it should also be scouted, so he's gonna know exactly what's coming.
yeah, as you say that, it's just if he does walk right on in, so Roro will. Ooh, I like that little cheeky.
Yeah, unfortunately, he thinks it's going to be some sort of reactor or tech lab coming down, but does not actually see the second barracks here, which is really, really unfortunate. That's really important for a Terran player to see. So,
Yeah, I mean, that supply depot is just going to be picked at. These Reapers just going to keep on streaming out as Roro's Reaper actually looking around the map real quick, thinking there might be a little bit of proxy.
Yeah, if Roro was looking at his depot at that last second, he will actually know what's happening, because the second Reaper didn't pop from this barracks, but there was a second Reaper. So if Roro was actually watching his depot, which I'm not sure if he was, he might actually know what's going on here. But I mean, unfortunately, it doesn't really look like he is. He only has one Reaper and one Marine. So I mean, he's definitely confused as to what's going on here.
Yeah, it looks like both players kind of double checking for any sort of proxies. And
Yeah, I have to admit, I'm kind of confused. I would think that Groovy would go straight across the map. Like, he's kind of gotten away with the fact that this hasn't been scouted, but he might just be electing, honestly, to wait for those. Well, now he goes across the map. So he was, I guess, just scouting. I guess he didn't scout at all, so just making sure nothing cheeky was going on before he headed out. A Cyclone will start, but there's also a Cyclone on the side of Groovy Man, so this is going to be a potentially very strong push.
absolutely, unfortunately, there is no bunker down for Roro quite yet, as the SCV comes down to do it. Does have to be canceled or aborted. Roro lifting up his natural and forced to defend.
Yeah, the Cyclone is definitely going to be a really strong thing for Roro to have. He can actually push down into his base, and I think he's overconfident in how he's held this. He doesn't know about that factory pumping out Cyclones. And so when this Cyclone shows up, he's actually going to be a little bit of trouble, since he decided to go straight for that tech lab. Is going to push down onto the low ground and might be able to clean up these Reapers before that Cyclone gets here, but doesn't really look like it. When that Cyclone shows up, Roro's going to be in a good bit of trouble.
Absolutely. Only a handful of Marines and one Cyclone against a Cyclone and a handful of Reapers. I mean, at this point, the Reapers win. I mean, mobility, they can self-heal. Unfortunately, Marines can't quite do that.
And those Reaper grenades absolutely bounce the Cyclone around, so it wasn't ever really firing in this fight. So, unfortunately for Roro, Rubyman will take this fight fairly convincing.
Yeah. Roro's going to be forced to abandon that low ground yet again.
As the siege tank pops, Roro will hold this. He is not in risk of dying. But, I mean, he is on even footing with Terran player who went to Rack's factory before expanding economically. And he's also a little bit behind an army at this point. He's not at risk of being broken, but he's definitely contained.
Absolutely. We have a couple of more racks just finishing for our boy in blue, but our little boy blue, I guess we could say.
This is the second time in a series that we've seen the Terran player elect to go to our second and third racks before third command center, which is definitely interesting. It's not the norm at all. You typically see third CC first, and we do see Groovy Man going for that third command center. So Roro really needs to get something done here. He's only falling further and further behind. He doesn't have a contained set on the orange Terran player, and so...
Ooh, was that a momentary Marine fire on that tank?
Either the tank or the plates, I'm not really sure.
Yep, okay, so definitely the tanks, or plate. We do have a little bit more damage. I mean, Groovy Man's just getting a lot of nice pot shots against Roro's units. Roro doesn't have anything to heal.
He's being very, very annoying with his locations. Just out of siege tank position, able to hit the command center. Very, very great positional play from Groovy Man. Finally, we'll end up losing one Cyclone and all the Reapers. So actually, we'll lose the second. Actually, gets away with it. So nice for Groovy Man. And yeah.
Yeah, Groovy Man also having to back up that tank. That was a little bit off to the side, but heading back to his base. I mean, as you said, Groovy Man has a third up. He has about the same amount of production. It's just Roro's falling behind, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, he's already on the same production. His army's already bigger, and he has a third command center. So at this point, Roro is going to have to take an absolutely amazing engage. The only thing that is good for Roro here is that it is possible for Groovy Man to stretch himself too thin between these three bases, and his army isn't going to, it'll remain the same size as Groovy Man. They're approximately the same size, so his army's not getting any smaller yet. So there is a small opportunity that maybe he can force himself onto the third base and kill it, or find a hole in the defense of Groovy Man. But he's just far behind economically and is actually going to take that pocket third. So isn't going to be catching up totally in economy for a pretty good.
And real quick, we do have a double medevac drop here in the main for Roro. So one tank and a good handful of Marines. They are doing as much work as they can, canceling stim and taking down the reactor on that.
I hate to call games before they're over, but honestly, with losing stim, there's not a lot Roro can really do from this position. He doesn't even have the drop cleaned up. The tank is still standing strong. And just losing stim takes absolutely any aggressive potential that might have been there away.
Unfortunately, that Viking did also go down, so all the air superiority is now going to Groovy Man in this instance. That said, we have another double drop going towards the south end of the map. Gonna be natural.
I mean, at this point, the only thing that I can see, the only thing that, Roro can really try to even do is just absolutely turtle up and do not leave his base until he's met. Prioritize his upgrades, make as many siege tanks as he can, and just try and turtle it out. I mean, Terran is a great defensive race, but that's really the only chance he has at this point.
Yeah, it's just really unfortunate for Roro. His opponent has 3 bases to, I mean, what is virtually half of the base at this point.
2.5. 26 SCVs go down. Roro's down to 26 SCVs. Will barely clean up both drops. And yeah, there's just not really a tangible advantage here for Roro. I mean, he's even on army supply, but his army does not even have stim, much less to the stim and, I believe, and combat shields of Groovy Man.
And checking the workers lost tab, we do have 34 workers killed. Groovy Man is absolutely savage. Those SCVs. So right now we do have both players just kind of gathering their forces, figuring out what they need to do. But Groovy Man is such a big advantage here. Rover's going to be hard pressed coming up pretty soon.
I mean, you really just have to embrace your inner Todd and look at the supply. And realize that Roro is just incredibly far behind in economy and army, and at this point there's not a lot he can really do to come back. I mean, like we talked about last game, it is TVT. I mean, you get a good tank volley and all of a sudden all their Marines are gone, you drop on top of the tanks and their army's just not there anymore. But I don't think Groovy Man would let something like that happen.
Yeah, absolutely. We do see a bit of engage here, little poking, I guess, not quite a full engage, but some tank fire did go off. We have tank superiority count for Roro here, so that is going for him. If Groovy Man runs all of his forces in A moves, then Roro will be in a little bit better of a spot, but
I mean, Groovy Man knows he's ahead. He knows that he's taking his 4th and Roro just got his 3rd base up. He knows he has better production. He knows he has a better economy. So at this point, Groovy Man's leaving a good chunk of his army at home. He has a tank sieged up at his 3rd base. He has units in his natural. He's not overly concerned about being overly aggressive. So, I mean, just these small pokes forward with a tank, some Marines, handful of, like 2 medevacs, not a big committal, and just a solid little poke to make sure Roro is staying honest.
Yeah. +1 shield, armor, I guess. It just finished for Groovy Man. +2 attack is just about finished.
+1 shields.
Shields, there it is. I mean, it's technically armor. It's a form of armor.
Didn't know we were watching a Pro Talk.
Yeah. Either way, we do have a triple medevac drop coming in the pocket, 3rd pocket natural, I guess, for Roro here, and this is going to be absolutely devastating.
Very sadly for Roro, he was actually totally prepared for it in the main base, and then the medevacs just kept flying, and they decided to go in for that 3rd base. So really good decision from Groovy Man, excuse me. Although, I mean, Roro did clean up 2 of the siege tanks, so it will be a little bit easier to get this cleaned up, but still really difficult. Not mining, loses 7 SCVs, so still definitely very devastating.
Yeah, Groovy Man on a solid 4 bases now.
At this point, though, I do believe Roro basically does have this cleaned up, does pick off all the tanks, so should just be able to kill this with his hands.
Yeah, there is one medevac that does get out though for Groovy Man, so I mean, definitely good job for being able to get out without too much loss. I mean,
The
he dealt
Viking
quite a
is
bit of
going to
damage.
come up here, so might be able to snipe this. Although, if
Ooh,
Groovy Man does look, boost is off cooldown, so he does. And you know, I will say to Roro at this point, for how behind he was, for how absolutely dead he was, going down to 22 SCVs in this game, he has done a sufficient job of staying able to defend and really just keeping himself afloat on 3 bases really well so far.
yeah, absolutely. Roro now up to 45 workers compared to the 72. However, I mean, keeping all that in mind, this entire game, Roro's really done a good job at trying to bring it back. So,
Yeah.
definitely fighting spirit here. So,
There's
you
so
take
much.
anything from this game, folks,
Never
keep
give up.
that fighting spirit. Never give up.
Never
Surrender.
And don't fire until you see the white of their eye.
We do have some tanks sieging up in the low ground. 5 medevacs dropping in the main.
Actually drops right into tank range, and Roro stems right up in there. It is actually going to take out all the siege tank and all of these marines, so not a successful drop for Groovy Man, honestly. Will kill some production, actually does not even get that starport, so very, very solid hold there from Roro. His tank positioning is just absolutely amazing. There's not a spot that Groovy Man can really push into that's not covered by siege.
There's just a small sliver, but any movement from an army would be very...
Very smartly, Groovy Man's going to try and jump on top of the tanks, but then again, the Marines and 2 unsieged tanks do come back into the main base, so, I mean, again, Roro's defense is, you know, for what he has, it's really, really good.
Absolutely. Roro putting on some pretty good games here.
At half the supply, he's
absolutely.
staying alive. That's incredible.
And this is definitely how TVT likes to work out in the end when you have 2 fairly even armies. Even, I mean, very defensible positions. You just have to keep poking, and that's what Groovy Man is going to keep doing now.
Yeah, I mean, as much as I do appreciate the defensive masterclass from Roro, I mean, we do see 13 Marines at a time, 2 siege tanks at a time, 2 extra factories coming down, plus 1 ship weapons has even started. So Groovy Man's feeling very confident. You know, he's on. Shoot, I have to actually count. He's on 7 bases. I thought it was only 6, 7 bases at this point, compared to the 3 of Roro. So he's not overly worried with this situation.
Absolutely, and with the position that Roro's in, he's forced to continue to be defensive.
Yeah, and as I was talking about, I mean, last game a little bit, the contain that Groovy Man has, there's just no way that Roro's going to be breaking this anytime soon. And if he does try and break it, if he does eventually break it even, as I meant to say, and takes a 4th, his army will be even more spread thin, and there'll be more opportunities for Groovy Man to poke in. So it's a massive risk, really.
Yeah. And looking at the upgrades here, right now, Groovy Man has the advantage. So Roro, he can't take a straight up fight.
And Groovy Man is actually adding sensor towers on Roro's side of the map, just to make sure nothing gets by him. He has Marines patrolling at the top side, so just fully trying to lock down Roro's side of the map.
Yeah, he's definitely doing a good job at that too.
Although I don't know why they're placed right next to each other. It really does not get much extra.
You gotta double scan him, right?
I mean, he gets like an extra six pixels, basically.
Yeah, exactly. And you need all of the information coming up. But we did have a little bit of a poke for Marines trying to get in. They did snap
five command centers being built from Groovy Man.
Oh,
and I mean, Roro is slowly starting to push out here, inching forward his tanks, gonna try and eventually take this position back. And yeah, he is gaining some territory, and he actually has an equal, actually slightly larger army supply than Groovy Man. So, not saying he's gonna win this game, but it is somewhat possible. And Thors are really not the best supply either. So the army advantage that Groovy Man will be gaining here is not really very good.
Yeah, especially in the PvP situations. There's typically a reason you don't see too many Thors.
Yeah, I mean, and they don't serve a purpose here. I mean, it's not like Roro has overwhelming air control and he's panicking to get something out, right? Like Roro has 4 Vikings, one of them's about to die. He's actually building a planet for his fortress, or was planning on it, I guess. That's just BM. But I mean, yeah, he's slowly pushing out, and like I said, not saying he's done it, he's winning, but I mean, Roro is on, like I said, slightly ahead in army supply, so definitely fighting the good fight at this point. Is going to start slowly breaking away this contain and finally going to be moving to take this 4th base.
Yeah, so, I mean, in a TVT situation, both races, you could kind of say that they're even, more or less. How do you think Roro could possibly even get out of this contain, though? I mean...
I think Roro is doing it absolutely perfectly. He gained air control. He has 4 Vikings, he's making more, he's making a Liberator, so he can slowly inch his tanks forward, inch the Liberators forward, and slowly push back on this contain on the north side. Or excuse me, on the west side. So I do think it's definitely possible for Roro to break it. It's going to be slow and tedious, absolutely, and how much will it matter by the time he finally does, I cannot say. But this is definitely the way that he has to go about it.
Yeah. Absolutely, and again, Groovy Man doing a phenomenal job here at containing his opponent. I mean, that's... when you're ahead, just get more ahead. I mean, as we've seen, he got 5 bases at a point.
Yeah, he added 5 commands.
Absolutely insane.
The only advantage that I have to cannot stress this enough. This is the only advantage that Roro really has. He has such a low SCV supply that, let's say, by the powers that be, he does somehow break this contain, gets a 4th, and gets max. His army will be massive compared to Groovy Man. So, and I mean, TVT is just one of those matchups where even if you have a 4K bank, just the amount of time it takes to produce... Oh, that's wrong. He's building sensor towers, literally.
Yeah. Ooh, okay, so... with that all said, I think the only use for Thors, especially in this situation, I mean, they absolutely snipe those Liberators. I think it's absolutely not a bad use of them.
No, not at all.
But we do see a little bit of BM coming from Groovy Man here. 5 sensor towers right on top of each other.
Yeah, if he does have a fusion core, those Thors will actually not be able to hit the Liberators.
Yeah, a little bit of banter coming out from Groovy Man as you see this, but again, Roro just doing his best to get out of the containment that he's in. We are going to see a little bit of Marine push out, or at least Roro trying to get some sort of... Ooh, actually, as I say that, all of the Marines stem in from Groovy Man. Both players very hard pressed, but these tanks doing so much damage. The Thors are coming out on top, however. There's more tanks, there's more Marines, as you said before. Roro just has this crazy army right now.
Yeah, it's just incredibly hard for him to break. And the only now, I mean, Groovy Man will have a much easier time replenishing this than Roro will. So every loss that Roro takes is 3 times as.
We got a little bit more.
Super scan.
Yeah, super scan coming from our orange Terran here as he funnels out tons of units. Looks like he is going to try and go for the kill. A little bit tired of waiting. He is, so. We're definitely going to see a little bit more action coming forward. And that said, a little bit of stim. Sensor tower going down on the left side. Marines for Groovy Man moving in on the right, taking out these tanks.
Yeah, and it does look like finally Groovy Man has, you know, a massive supply deficit. There's not really much you can do from this. point, and he will GG out.
Absolutely. So game number 2 going to Scythe eSports. Ooh, and actually, even looking at those graphs post game, the army value actually is very,
At
very,
the very end was very
Yeah.
close. That's pretty good. That's pretty funny.
surprisingly close, even. So, good job from both players. Definitely had a very solid contain game, I guess. So we are going to be getting the next game underway, though, as we pull the next players into the party. And actually, that said, it will be Route against Daydreamer. So we're going to have a PvP for you guys coming up.
Yeah, we'll be getting into the PvP memes.
The PvP memes, he says. You're a Terran. So, as a Terran, looking at a PvP, what kind of composition do you want?
Dude, we're gonna go full Blink Disruptor.
Full Blink Disruptor. All right, nice. I like that. I don't know. I'm voting for the Golden Armada here from any of the players, really. Just a little. I don't know. I think it gives it's a little bit oomph. I'm not sure the word I'm looking for, but definitely hoping to see some of that.
I would not like to play a PvP against Route. That's not. I was set to do that. I don't know why my race was even set as Protoss, but that was very scary.
Yeah, Ward almost played him here on stream for everybody to watch. So, as amusing as that would have been, we're gonna try and get into a little bit more of an even map. Or match.
I don't have referee privileges, but Daydreamer would like no game history. I guess he means no match history.
Yeah.
So if somebody could do that.
Yeah, absolutely. We are gonna be trying to get that set. Yep. I believe Gem and one of our admins is the leader, so he'll be doing that for us. So both players are ready. That said, thank you guys for sticking around. This is the Alpha Team League, Season 11, Week 3, Infinity Gaming against Scythe eSports. Match number 3, actually. And I'm your caster, Arthisios. Alongside me is Ward. And we'll be here all night.
All night, yeah.
Yeah, so yet another game actually that we're seeing with one player ranked where I assume he should be, and the other player not so much. So I guess we're running into a bit of players not super active in the ranked ladder, I guess, at the moment. But either way, getting this underway, in the bottom left corner, we have our red Protoss. Representing Infinity Gaming, it's Route.
Spawning in the top right, we have the light blue Protoss player. Representing Scythe eSports, it is Daydream.
Oh man, I'm already prepping my joke for later. It's gonna be so good. I'm pretty pumped for it.
I don't want to know. I hope we don't get to it.
Oh, you're gonna love it. It's gonna be great. Anyways, as fun as that is, we do have the double assimilator going for both players. Looks to be identical. Yeah, the only difference is Route's looking to be maybe 4 seconds off on pro production. That's about it. So
Yeah, I mean, nothing really big. Both players going double gateway, which is really standard. Obviously, if you open single gate in PvP, you're absolutely crazy and have a death wish. Double gate's just the standard. Cybernetic scores coming down, and yeah, both players at least look like they're going for macro. It'll be interesting to see if we see just straight Nexus or Tech from each player, but yeah.
Absolutely. We do have a secondary probe coming to the south side of the map. Oh, ha! So, probes look the exact same, as bad as that sounds. We have Routes probe scouting on the north end, and
Yeah, at this point, just the way things look with the second pylon position. Actually, no, that's standard second pylon positioning. Both players are going to go double up depth first, so both going to be looking to get some scouting, get some worker damage, play a little risky. And yeah, we do have a pylon coming down from. I'm very confused by the situation. Oh, okay. That's Routes probe. Okay, so Daydreamer is gonna stop Routes probe from escaping with the shield battery, so that it will get killed off for sure. And we do actually have a proxy pylon here from Daydreamer. Gonna say proxy Stargate.
yeah, definitely getting off to a quick start after fairly lengthy TBT.
Yeah,
PvP is going to be pretty quick if
Routes probe actually lived for a very, very long time in the main base of Daydreamer, surprisingly long. So he actually got around the base and saw that there was nothing there. So Route might actually have an idea of what's going on. He does have his Stargate out first, but he will go for an Oracle first. So this can definitely get a little bit interesting. There's going to be double Adept and an Oracle in his main base. So this is definitely a scary situation.
Yeah, both players going for similar builds, I guess, at this point. We do have a shield battery. We did have a shield battery.
Yeah, again, so what's happening is Daydreamer, this is kind of a really interesting part of PvP. Adepts are so volatile that to keep them from getting to your main base, you actually have to probe sitting at your main ramp to place down a pylon or shield battery so that they cannot get in.
Okay.
Unfortunately, there's going to be no shield battery here for Route to defend this Oracle, but he does actually catch one of the Adepts by itself, will kill it, and is going across the map with his own Oracle. Is taking a significant amount of damage, though. Is going to have to run these probes away, and does finally warp in a Stalker.
Absolutely. We do have 10 probes down for Route, unfortunately, so this Stalker is going to chew away this Oracle.
The Oracle in the main base of Daydreamer is also uncontested, so he will also kill off 6 workers. And again, we do see the game actually start to equalize here, as both players are down to 19 workers each. This Oracle
God.
getting away is an absolutely massive deal. It actually stops, but so do the Stalkers.
Oh no! And there it is.
I'm sorry, Route. I cast or cursed you. I'm very sorry. But, so that is a massive deal. So he does elect to go for a Phoenix instead, because now he can't really do the whole double single-shotting probes with 2 Oracles. Route will again pull the probes. Oracle will focus fire, though, and get a good amount of worker kills. 6 down, going down. And yeah, he's about 3 workers behind. So I expect to see Route heavily chrono boosting workers trying to catch back up.
Yeah, we have a Twilight Council going down for Daydreamer here, but I don't see.
Route
I mean,
is electing to play Phoenixes, so he's not going to have a massive second tech path, and he's just going to be chronoing out Phoenixes, trying to maintain air control, and eventually just trying to be able to have enough Phoenixes he can kill all the probes and also all the Stalkers. I mean, this is basically how Roddy plays.
we had another Oracle come on in, actually, both sides.
So same Oracle comes back in, gets a few additional kills, and we do see Route at only a 2-worker deficit now. So, much better for Route.
Yeah, things are definitely evening out a little bit. That Starport just gonna go untouched, I guess, or yeah, is Daydreamer going to abandon that? I believe.
I mean, at this point, I believe he just scouted it, so maybe he'll send something that way, but I don't think it's that massive of a deal. There's no way that Daydreamer, even if he wants to, can build enough Phoenix that he'll catch up to Route's Phoenix count. He is sending 2 Adepts there now. And actually, what I find really unfortunate for Daydreamer here is he's going for a Glaive Adept all-in, or he's at least going for heavy pressure with it, which Phoenixes are absolutely incredible against. Obviously, Adepts are light. Phoenix can just pick them up and kill them borderline instantly. So this is not really the ideal situation for Daedream.
Yeah, that said, we do have 3 Phoenixes coming in against Daydreamer, but
I mean, only
picking
2
up a probe only.
So basically, Phoenix are invincible in early game PvP. They just don't die. So, I mean, there's nothing really for Route to be afraid of here. He can idle these Phoenix all he's to his heart's desire. There are more workers going down. Adepts get into the main base, actually, so they're getting really, really nice kills here. So Route will actually take a worker lead again for the first time in this game for a while. Phoenixes are flying in, getting even more probe kills. Not the scenario for Daedream.
Route looking for those probe kills only. Doesn't seem to care too much about those stalkers, so definitely putting him in a good position. That's 30 workers killed. Route on Daydreamer.
And just because of how this has turned out so far, I mean, this is a 2-base attack, but he just doesn't have enough economy to support extra gateways. He's only now adding on his 3rd and 4th gate, so there's nothing really for Route to fear from those Glaive Adepts right now. I mean, with a shield battery, just 1 shield battery even, he can hold this. There's nothing really that those Glaive Adepts can do to him.
Yeah, and that said, there's 11 worker difference now.
It's super scary. This attack's super scary. Daydreamer warped in 2 Adepts. Like, I mean, all this Phoenix damage has really slowed down the push of Daydreamer.
Yeah, the Immortal holding that door along with his buddies, compadres. Unfortunately, those adepts are no longer, but as you said, these Phoenixes, ooh,
invincible.
Not even going to die. Yeah, they don't die here. They are the new Immortal.
Yeah, and to clarify, because I think that kind of sounded a little BM. That wasn't like me talking about like Daydreamer's push is terrible. That's just how effective these Phoenixes have been thus far. So
yeah, no, absolutely. And I mean, Daydreamer's he has like a fairly powerful army at this point with some stalkers. I mean, just for pushing away these Phoenixes, but Phoenix is a good unit.
Just starting glaives of his own. So I guess he's gonna look to counter Glaive Adepts with Glaive Adepts or something. I'm not entirely sure, but I mean, at this point, even if the Phoenix come home, this attack is gonna get absolutely nothing done. The only opportunity that Daydreamer has is that he somehow overwhelms this force that Route has. But again, I mean, there's 3 Immortals.
We do have 4 Adepts getting into Route space, 2 in the natural, 2 in the main.
Yeah, the fact
that army had to follow the ones in the natural, so there will be a couple of workers killed in the main.
Yeah, really good actually from Daydreamer, getting good kills here. Eventually 3 Adepts will come in and finally kill off these 2 Adepts, but definitely solid damage.
Absolutely, and I mean, anything Daydreamer can do to even out that worker count.
Yeah, and I really wish that Route would go and try and find these pylons, because I mean, from this point on, even though his army's massive, even though he has 4 Phoenix, never underestimate the power of Glaive Adepts in PvP. They can get so much done because nothing kills them fast enough. So at this point, I mean, he's moving out, but there's going to be 2 Adepts in each mineral line, and so this is definitely a very possible way for Daydreamer to get back into the game.
Yeah, and even with that said, I mean, Daydreamer's ahead now of Route and workers by 15.
On the other side of the map, though, there are 3 Immortals, 4 Phoenix, and a good number of, and actually 2 Archons. So this is definitely not any easy hold for Daydreamer. Will lose an Immortal actually right off the bat, and from this point, I just don't think that there's much that Daydreamer can do to hold this. On the other side of the map, it does look like the Adepts have been at least slowed down, and so yeah, this is just not looking good for Daydreamer.
Shield battery's pretty good. But we do have these Phoenix zoning out these Immortals. And Route is he's putting on this pressure as heavy as he can. These steps going through. GG getting called. That was actually a really fun match to see. I remember, what was it? A couple months ago. For me, I guess personally, it was painful to watch PvP because it always evolved into late game Phoenix War. So.
Oh, the worst when it was just carriers and people only built carriers.
Oh yeah,
That was bad.
Yeah, absolutely. So we will have Route taking game number 3. So it is currently 2-1 from Infinity Gaming. So we will be going to our 4th map, which, I mean, Bobby Awesome, if you're watching, boy, you got your boy Kane.
I don't think, sadly,
He's
Bobby
not.
Awesome is here.
He's probably not.
He's not.
realistically.
I mean, he's finally getting to see it live, and he doesn't even know what's going on. That's got to be a letdown for Bobby.
Yeah. Absolutely. So again, thank you guys for hanging out with us through these matches. I mean, we're just enjoying casting Alpha Team League Season 11, Week 3. Yeah. Be sure to. I mean, yeah. Infinity Gaming does have a T-shirt giveaway, I believe. We're going to be giving the link in chat, but if you if you log into your social media accounts and follow the link given, follow said social media accounts of Infinity Gaming, that will enter you for a chance to win one of 2 T-shirts. So definitely always a cool little free merch thing going on. Definitely cool those.
Yep. So coming up next, the players are joining the party now. As I think you said Goucher. I'm not sure if, or Kane. I'm not sure if you said his opponent. It will be Kane versus Goucher.
Wow.
This will take place on Backwater, which is definitely a pretty interesting map. Obviously, very easy to get up to 3 bases, or depending on how you decide to take it, 4. So yeah, I think there's definitely going to be an interesting match to watch play out. ZVZ on this map can definitely be interesting.
Yeah. So it's interesting that you were saying how easy it is to get in that macro game on this map. From what we've seen of Kane recently, he's been very hyper aggressive. So definitely excited to see what is going to come out of this one.
I guess okay. Never mind. So for a second there, Kane and Goucher were both had Terran selected. So I was a little concerned that we were gonna watch something a little unexpected, but no, they do both switch to Zerg. So
yeah. So continuing this mirror match festival we have going on for you guys. Game number 4 is just underway. Again, thank you for hanging out with us. I'm Arthisios, and here is my buddy Ward, giving you some good old ZVZ. And okay, so we're here, we're back. We are starting this game in the bottom right corner. It's the blue, yes, he's blue boy Kane, representing Infinity Gaming.
Kane. And spawning in the top left, representing Scythe eSports, it is the red Zerg player, Goucher. Alright, so as we were talking about earlier, Kane does play very aggressively in ZBZ. So far we do see a 13-12 coming out from Kane. Going to be looking to get a very fast Zergling speed. Going to try and just flood his opponent out with Lings. Just depending on the player, some people do go into a Baneling Nest, some people just try and expand behind it and just flood Zerglings and hopefully kill the natural and keep the enemy from droning. So you kind of end up on even footing, but definitely going to be interesting to see which Kane chooses. Obviously, one is much more all-in than the other, so hopefully we do see something interesting from Kane here. We do have just a hatch first here from Goucher. His pool is just about, I'd say about a third of the way done. So we do have already the Zerglings heading out to the other side of them. And as I mentioned, it is going to be the Baneling follow-up. He does pull off one gas just to make sure he has the right mineral income. And yeah, so we're gonna see a one base Ling Bane attack here from Kane. Especially with how late the spawning pool is from Goucher. I mean, it's a standard timing. It is going to be very, very difficult for Goucher to hold. The hatchery will be finished up on the low ground, and Kane will be looking to get right on top of that. It is going to be definitely the main source of contention here. The main advantage that a Zerg player that goes hatch first does have over a one-base Zerg player is their production. They already have 6 larvae to the 3 of the one-base player. So it's already a big advantage, and if you get a queen out on each base, it's not even close. So it's very crucial that he does end up getting this base. He already has it down to orange health. Picks off 2 Zerglings, which is really, really good for Kane, obviously. His Zergling count is far superior to that of Goucher, and he is just going to kind of dance around, going to try and find some pickoffs. And as his link speed finishes, he will find a good number of Zerglings here. So far,
these Lings picking at the natural, bringing it further into the red. Then just going after the queen. He does want to. Looks like he wants to try and bait out as much as he can.
I mean, Zergling speed and Banelings are done for Kane. There's the Baneling nest and Zergling speed for Goucher are about halfway done. So he does get a good Baneling hit here. Goucher does have the fine in the main base, but his drones aren't mining at this point. Kane does add on 2 extra Banelings. Going to look to get onto this mineral line. And I mean, at this point, Kane really can, as he is actually doing, expand. He's already killed the natural, so if he does get up this natural base, he can just start droning again, because his production will be far superior. I do believe that was a drone that Kane made. I'm not sure. Actually, I'm watching the units tab because I feel that's what's more important here. And he does kill a large number of Zerglings with that Baneling hit. Again, though, the drones just go back to mining, and I'm not really sure if Kane's actually going to be able to bust this yet.
Ooh, unfortunately, one Baneling does take off at the single Ling. A little inefficient, but Goucher is, by the looks of it, having a little bit of a breather. Kane finally letting off his aggression. But we do see Kane having a natural.
I mean, worker count is slightly in favor for Goucher, but having that second base is absolutely crucial. His production is going to be through the roof in comparison to Goucher's. I mean, Goucher doesn't even have a queen here, so he's producing from 3 larvae at a time, whereas Kane is producing from, with injects, 12, because he has a queen in the main, queen of the natural. So just a massive advantage here for Kane, production-wise.
Yeah, as we do see right now, some stream of Lings coming from Goucher here, but Kane will just be able to easily send that off with a single Baneling.
Great Baneling control from Kane. Isn't going to let any Zerglings pick off those Banelings. Does try and get a little bit of a flank there, and does leave his Banelings exposed, unfortunately. So this Zergling might actually get a Baneling.
Ooh, manual detonation not quite working out. Another Baneling getting picked off, but Kane definitely does have the Ling advantage still.
Yeah, and at this point he is 6 workers ahead. Only more and more drones are coming out. We do see a lair, and based off the fact that there's no Roach Warren, it is probably going to be a Spire. I do believe Goucher has seen that with that scouting Zergling, so no surprises. Kane does get into the main base, but of course there's a Spine Crawler there, so he's going to hide the Zerglings and make Banelings instead.
Yeah, absolutely. Right now we we have some Banelings.
Ooh, great trade for Kane. 2 Zerglings for 2 Banelings. Can't really get much better than that unless you're TLO and do more Baneling morph tricks. And yeah, we just see a lot of workers going down. The 2 Lings actually just get found by a Queen, so nothing good there for Kane. But, I mean, Roachborn does finish, but, I mean, what, 5 Roaches? That'll get to the other side of the map, and it won't do anything. I mean, they're slow Roaches. It'll take him a couple years to get to Kane's base. He's already starting 2 Spine Crawlers, and that should be more than enough to hold off the Roaches.
Absolutely. Spire was started. Goucher hasn't seen it yet. He knows there's a lair, but he hasn't quite seen the Spire itself, though he can guess.
Yeah, I was gonna say Goucher hasn't seen it, but if you see a lair, no Roach Warren, I mean, it kind of limits the number of possibilities here. This Zergling is dancing around the base for its life. Unfortunately, will get killed by a Roach.
Yeah, getting picked off. We do have a little bit of a Roach move out coming from Goucher here. Going to try and put a dent in Kane's.
And I mean, a Spine Crawler is basically worth 2 Roaches. And maybe 1.5 Roaches. So having actually 5 spine crawlers, in no world should Kane ever be broken here, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And that
He,
said, Couch is gonna try anyways. So
I mean, Goucher has to do something, right? So this is definitely, I think, his best chance. Kane currently has double the worker supply, and by the time these Mutalisks will be popping any second now. They're already started. So by the time these Mutalisks pop, this push will be cleaned up, and Goucher will, I mean, have about. So he really has to deal some serious economic damage by the time that those mutas pop.
yeah, but we're not seeing too much of that quite yet. A couple Banelings breaking those roaches, Lings flooding the rest of that army, everything that's left, and it looks like Kane will, for the most part, hold with pretty much everything. I mean, he hasn't really taken any losses other than
3 queens actually come to the other side of the map, so those Mutalisks will have to back off. That'd have been pretty decent, actually, if it had happened at the same time with all those roaches. But now the queens are out, they're singled out and by themselves, they're surrounded by Zerglings, Mutalisks raining down on them, and it will be
GG. And so, game number 4 goes to Kane, and that's it. That will be the end of that series. Infinity Gaming winning 3-1 against Scythe eSports.
Oh yeah, I mean a really great series actually. Both TVTs were incredible, obviously, and I mean the PvP and the ZVZ were definitely interesting to watch. So yeah, definitely a good matchup between Scythe and Infinity Gaming.
Yeah, a lot of good matches seen. And again, thank you guys, everyone, for hanging out.
Yeah, thanks everyone for watching.
Yeah, as we mentioned before, I'm Arthisios, this is Ward, and we'll see you next time.